Hello and welcome. Today we are diving into a really fascinating idea from Buddhist teachings, a special kind of place called a Pure Land. But this isn't just about a paradise. We're talking about the ultimate safe zone for your spiritual journey, a realm designed by a Buddha to offer an absolutely incredible guarantee. So, what is that guarantee? Let's get into it.
Anyone who's ever tried to build a good habit, whether it's meditating or just trying to be a little more patient, knows it is not easy. The spiritual path is often described as being unbelievably long, stretching across countless lifetimes. And with that much time, well, anything can happen. So it all boils down to one huge question for anyone on this path. Is there any way to lock in your progress? Is there an absolutely safe, foolproof way to get to the finish line?
Now, to really grasp why this safe zone is such a revolutionary idea, we first have to understand the problem it's trying to solve. And Buddha's teachings are crystal clear about just how tough the journey can be. So let's take a look at the obstacles you find on what they call the perilous path.
Okay, so the biggest challenge is this thing called retrogression. You can just think of it as backsliding. Imagine making incredible spiritual progress for years, decades even, only to lose your focus, get distracted, or run into some huge obstacle that throws you completely off track. The source texts say this is a constant danger, and it's often made worse by something called demonic interference. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the language here. The sutra doesn't just talk about abstract difficulties, it personifies them as an invading enemy called Mara. And Mara isn't some cartoon devil with a pitchfork, It represents all those forces, both inside and out, that get in our way. Things like doubt, laziness, fear, and all the worldly distractions that pull at us. The path to enlightenment is basically framed as a constant battle against these forces that are actively working to derail you.
So when you're facing this long, perilous journey, is there an answer? Is there a way out? Well, the sutras offer a pretty remarkable one, a pure land created by the Buddha Akshobhya. It's called Abhirati, which means the world of exquisite joy. And this place isn't just nice to look at. It's a world that has been specifically engineered to be the perfect training ground, designed from the ground up to overcome every single one of those obstacles we just talked about.
And wow, this slide just lays it all out perfectly. On the left, you've got our world, where Mara is this great enemy. But on the right, in Abhirati, something absolutely wild happens. The sutra says that because of Akshobhya Buddha's power, Mara and all his followers are completely pacified. In fact, they end up becoming students of the Dharma themselves. They actually want to become monks. The very force that tries to stop you here becomes your classmate there.
And here's another total game changer. We've all felt this, right? The struggle on the left, the frustration of reading something profound and just not getting it or forgetting it a day later. Well, in Aversity, that entire struggle is just gone. The sutra says that by the Buddha's power, as soon as you hear the teachings, you instantly get the full meaning and you never, ever forget it. The friction of learning is completely removed. And the list of amazing qualities just keeps going. The community there is described as being as pure as refined gold, no bad apples. Practitioners can literally travel to other worlds just by thinking about it. Everybody enjoys heavenly comforts, so there's no struggling just to get by. And get this, the number of enlightened beings there is so huge it's compared to the great ocean. You're just surrounded by success stories. But all of those features, as amazing as they sound, are all there for one ultimate reason. They all build up to the central promise of Abhirati, the one thing that makes it the ultimate safe zone. We're talking about an incredible ironclad guarantee. So, the whole thing hinges on this concept of non-retrogression. What does it mean? It means you've reached a point of no return on your spiritual path. It becomes literally impossible to backslide. Your progress is locked in, and full enlightenment is no longer just a possibility, it's a certainty. It is the absolute insurance policy against failure. To help us wrap our heads around what this feels like, the sutra gives us this powerful metaphor. Being born in Abhirati is like entering a city of fearlessness. I mean, just picture it, an impenetrable fortress. Once you are safe inside those walls, no enemy can ever touch you again. You are completely and totally safe from all threats.
And here's another brilliant analogy. The text compares it to a person who is drowning in debt, constantly being hounded by creditors. Now, if that person could escape to some faraway, unreachable country, the creditors couldn't get to them anymore, right? In the exact same way, once you're in Abhirati, Mara, the ultimate creditor who's always knocking on your door for your karmic debts, he just can't reach you. His path is cut off for good.
And this guarantee is absolute.
It's not like, most people succeed or it's just a bit easier there. No. The sutra is emphatic. Everyone who is born in this land of exquisite joy reaches this state of non-retrogression. 100%. The outcome is a sure thing.
Okay, so we've talked about what this place is and why it's so amazing. But the big question is, how do you actually get there? Well, the sutra doesn't just describe this incredible destination, it gives you a clear roadmap to follow. The path it lays out is actually wonderfully practical. So first, you learn about Akshaba's own journey, his vows, so you can understand the blueprint. Second, you actively practice those core virtues: generosity, discipline, patience, and so on. Third, and this is so important, you have to generate a really powerful and joyful wish to be born there. And finally, you uphold this very teaching, you study it, you recite it, and you share it with other people. And maybe the most comforting part of all of this is that the benefits aren't something you have to wait for until some distant future. The sutra promises that for anyone who makes this connection, who generates that wish and engages with this teaching, Akshobhya Buddha will personally protect them right here, right now, all the way to the end of their life. That protection starts the very moment you make the aspiration.
So we're left with this really profound idea. A Buddha didn't just point to a difficult path and say, good luck. He painstakingly built a perfect training environment, a spiritual safe zone, specifically to guarantee the success of others. It really makes you think, what does this tell us about what true compassion actually is? Maybe it's not just about wishing others well. Maybe it's about actively creating a world where they simply cannot fail.